The morning mist clung to the forward operating base like a shroud, and General Marcus Thorne had seen enough dawn patrols to know when something was wrong. The Barrett M82 A1 lay positioned with surgical precision on the observation deck, its scope trained on the valley below where intelligence suggested enemy movement. What stopped him cold wasn't the weapon itself, but the small figure crouched behind it, and more specifically, the distinctive patch sewn onto her sleeve, a silver eagle clutching lightning bolts above the numbers 3,200. 3,200 meters, the longest confirmed sniper kill in military history. Thorne's weathered face remained impassive, but his pulse quickened. That insignia was legendary, worn by only one person, and according to every briefing he'd received, that person was supposed to be dead. The figure behind the rifle shifted slightly, revealing a profile partially obscured by desert camouflage paint and wraparound tactical glasses. Auburn hair escaped from beneath a worn boonie hat, and when she turned to acknowledge his presence, her eyes held the peculiar stillness that came from staring through scopes for too many years. "General," she said simply, her voice carrying the faint rasp of someone who'd spent months breathing desert sand. Her call sign patch read Phantom in faded black letters. The name hit him like a physical blow. Captain Elena, Phantom, Vasquez had been declared killed in action 14 months ago during Operation Desert Mirage, when her reconnaissance team disappeared behind enemy lines. The official report stated no survivors, no recoverable intelligence, and certainly no explanation for how someone could walk away from a coordinated ambush that left 12 other operators dead. Yet here she was, very much alive, manning a sniper position with the casual competence of someone who belonged exactly where she sat. Her gear was mismatched, some pieces clearly scavenged from different conflicts, others bearing the patina of extended field use. But the rifle was pristine, maintained with the obsessive care that separated true marksmen from weekend warriors. Thorne's radio crackled to life. "Overlook 2, this is command. We're showing unauthorized personnel in your sector. Please advise." Phantom's finger moved to her earpiece before Thorne could respond. "Command, this is Overlook 2. Sector is secure. One friendly, properly positioned and observing assigned target zone." The general studied her face, searching for answers that her expression refused to provide. 14 months was a long time to be presumed dead, especially in a region where survival meant more than just avoiding bullets. It meant navigating tribal politics, resource scarcity, and the kind of isolation that broke most soldiers within weeks. "We need to talk," Thorne said finally. Phantom's attention remained fixed on the scope, her breathing steady and controlled. "After I finish this shot, sir, target's been moving in a pattern for the past 3 days. He'll break cover in approximately 4 minutes." The confidence in her voice suggested she'd been tracking more than just one target, and for considerably longer than anyone realized. In the sprawling operations center, buried beneath forward operating base Meridian, the morning briefing proceeded with its usual rhythm of caffeine and tactical updates. Major Rebecca Hartwell spread reconnaissance photos across the central table, while junior officers clustered around displays showing enemy positions throughout the valley. The atmosphere carried that particular tension of a mission still taking shape, plans formulated but not yet tested against reality. "Satellite imagery confirms increased activity in Sector 7, Hartwell announced, her finger tracing red circles on the aerial photographs. "We're looking at approximately 60 combatants, mixed small arms and what appears to be mortar positions." Lieutenant Colonel David Park leaned forward, studying the images through wire-rimmed glasses. "Time frame for engagement." "Pending final reconnaissance. We've got eyes on the valley, but—" The heavy steel door burst open with a metallic clang that silenced every conversation. General Thorne entered with purposeful strides, but it was the figure walking beside him that drew every gaze in the room. The woman moved with the fluid economy of motion that marked veteran operators, her desert-worn gear contrasting sharply with the crisp uniforms surrounding her. Whispers rippled through the assembled officers like wind through wheat. Most had heard the stories, the legendary sniper who'd earned her call sign by appearing and disappearing like smoke, always striking from impossible distances. Some claimed she was myth, others insisted she'd been killed months ago in a classified operation gone wrong. "Ladies and gentlemen," Thorne's voice cut through the murmurs, "I want you to meet Captain Elena Vasquez." The name hung in the air like an unexploded ordnance. Captain Sarah Chen, the unit's intelligence officer, actually dropped her coffee cup, the ceramic shattering against the concrete floor with a sharp crack that seemed unnaturally loud. Phantom paid no attention to the spilled coffee or the dozen pairs of eyes fixed on her. Instead, she moved directly to the reconnaissance photos, her gaze systematic and calculating. "These positions are wrong," she said without preamble, her finger tapping several locations on the imagery. "The mortars aren't here. They're 800 meters northeast, concealed under camouflage netting. The main force isn't 60 combatants. It's closer to 120, split between 3 separate compounds." Major Hartwell bristled at the correction. "Captain, these are the most recent satellite images available. They were taken 16 hours ago," Phantom interrupted, still studying the photos. "I've been watching them move for the past 4 days. They rotate positions every 12 hours, deliberately timing their movements between satellite passes." The room fell silent except for the hum of electronic equipment and the distant rumble of generators. Park removed his glasses and cleaned them methodically, a nervous habit that anyone who'd served with him recognized as his thinking process. "You've been observing them for 4 days," he repeated carefully. "From where exactly?" Phantom looked up from the photos for the first time since entering the room. Her eyes held depths that spoke of too many nights spent alone behind enemy lines, too many impossible shots taken from positions that shouldn't have existed. "From where I needed to be." The radio traffic from Overlook 2 had been routine for most of the morning, standard position reports and sector updates that painted a picture of controlled vigilance. But Staff Sergeant Maria Santos, monitoring communications from the operations center, noticed something unusual in the pattern of transmissions. The voice calling in updates wasn't one she recognized from the roster. "Sir," she called to Lieutenant Colonel Park, who was still studying reconnaissance photos with obvious frustration. "We're receiving reports from Overlook 2, but according to our deployment sheets, that position isn't supposed to be manned until 1400 hours. Park looked up from the imagery, his expression sharpening. "Who's our observer up there?" Santos adjusted her headset and pulled up the duty roster on her monitor. "That's just it, sir. According to this, nobody should be in position for another 3 hours, but we've been getting regular updates since 5:30. Before Park could respond, Phantom appeared at Santos's shoulder with the silent approach that was becoming her trademark. She leaned over the communications console and keyed the microphone without asking permission, a breach of protocol that would have earned any other soldier a sharp reprimand. "Overlook 2, this is base. Request confirmation on your current ammunition status and weather conditions." The response came immediately, crackling through the speakers with the clarity of a close-range transmission. "Base, Overlook 2. Current ammunition green, wind speed holding steady at 15 knots from the southwest, visibility unlimited. Observing multiple targets in assigned sector with clear engagement parameters." Santos stared at the radio as if it had begun speaking a foreign language. The voice was definitely female, definitely professional, and definitely not coming from any officially assigned personnel. Phantom straightened and met Park's questioning gaze. "I repositioned during the night to get better sight lines on the valley approaches. The scheduled observer would have been compromised by enemy counter-surveillance within 30 minutes of taking position." "You repositioned without authorization," Park stated, his tone carefully neutral. I repositioned to complete the mission. Phantom's response carried no defensiveness, just simple fact. The enemy has been monitoring your communication patterns and deployment schedules for weeks. They know exactly when and where your observers are supposed to be positioned. The implications of her words settled over the room like cold water. If enemy forces had penetrated their operational security to that degree, then every planned movement, every scheduled patrol, every carefully coordinated strike was potentially compromised before it began. Major Hartwell stepped forward, her face flushed with a mixture of embarrassment and anger. Are you suggesting that our operational security has been completely compromised? Phantom turned toward her with the patient expression of someone explaining obvious facts to a child. I'm not suggesting anything. I'm telling you that your communications are being monitored, your patterns are being tracked, and your people are walking into prepared ambush positions every time they follow standard deployment schedules. The radio crackled again, this time with urgent traffic from a different sector. Base, this is Patrol 7. We're taking incoming fire from positions not shown on our reconnaissance. Request immediate support and updated intelligence on enemy locations. The operations center erupted into controlled chaos as multiple officers began coordinating the response to the contact report. But Phantom remained calm, moving to the large tactical display that dominated the far wall. With a dry erase marker, she began sketching new positions over the existing intelligence markers. Patrol 7 is here, she said, placing an X on the map. The enemy positions they're taking fire from are here, here, and here. 3 new marks appeared on the display, all in locations that differed significantly from the official intelligence assessments. Park studied the updated positions, while radio chatter continued to fill the air with damage reports and requests for support. How can you be certain of these locations? Phantom capped the marker and set it down with deliberate precision. Because I've been watching them build those positions for the past week. The morning sun had burned away most of the valley mist by the time General Thorne made his way back to Overlook 2, leaving behind an operations center buzzing.